The terrifying 1990 Jaws ride incident. Submechanophobia. Okay. Theme park crazy. Alright. Let's see how this video goes. 18 minutes, man. Oh, sorry. One second. It's not, it'll be fast. It'll be fast. Oh,
Studios, Florida,
there we go.
anytime
Okay.
before
It is
2012.
working. Sorry. Audio wasn't working.
If you've been to Universal Studios Florida anytime before 2012, you'll most likely remember the Jaws ride. This insanely advanced boat ride.
I think I do remember the Jaws ride. I never, of course, never been on it. But I do remember seeing some stuff about it. It's just mechanic shark just going in and this. You know?
You'll most likely remember the Jaws ride. This insanely advanced boat ride remains one of the most ambitious theme park rides of all time, and for good reason. Its storytelling, use of live actors, and ultra-advanced underwater animatronics have made it a cult classic among theme park fans. The shark may be an animatronic, but that makes it even more horrifying to many. The fear of submerged man-made objects, commonly known as submechanophobia, certainly applies here. Many cringe and
That's it. I never heard of that before. That being a submechanophobia. Mechanical mechanical things underwater.
shudder at the idea of falling in with this massive
But yeah, I have a fear of fucking the ocean, dude. Like the deep ocean, fear that shit. Who knows? Fucking deep, dark ocean. Yeah, scary as fuck.
complex machine. And as it just so happens, one unlucky person actually did fall in with the shark. But what happened and why? Let's take a look at the 1990 Jaws ride incident right here on Theme Park Crazy.
Theme park crazy.
Adventures in Amity: Tales from the Jaws ride. It provided a lot of the information for this video, and I'll link its Amazon page in the description. Now before we get started, here's some background on the ride. Back in 1975, Universal Pictures released the movie Jaws. Directed by Steven Spielberg and based on the book by Peter Benchley, it was an instant success. It was such a massive hit that Universal Pictures aimed to add a Jaws experience to their tram tour in Hollywood. This experience served as a precursor to the Jaws ride, with guests passing by a man-made lagoon on the tram. As they pass by the water, an animatronic shark rises from the surface and snaps its jaws at them.
That shit is ugly. What the fuck is that?
Ride, with guests passing by a man-made lagoon on the tram. As they pass by the water, an animatronic shark rises from the
Shit's gross.
surface and snaps its jaws at them. It's worth noting that
What the fuck is that? Why is it? It's like a seal.
the original shark was rather cartoony looking, as it was meant to resemble the shark on the movie poster rather than a real great white shark. Later on, the shark was changed to be more realistic looking, and it continues to
Realistic how? Oh, what the fuck is that? It's like a sock puppet shark.
serve as one of the highlights of the tram tour today. Over a decade after this experience made its debut, Universal's parent company MCA was setting their sights on a massive new theme park in
I
Florida.
feel like you guys heard that.
The success of the tram tour's King Kong experience in 1986 further gave executives the confidence to open a full-fledged theme park. The growing Disney World resort made Orlando a hot tourist destination, and officials wanted to fully capitalize on the location with a movie-based theme park. Meanwhile, Disney had begun development on their own movie-based theme park around the same time. This would end up being Disney MGM Studios.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Originally intended to be just a studio tour, the concept morphed into a theme park as Universal sought to build their own. This was actually
is that just where they're taking a tour around the actual studios? Then yeah, I seen that.
pretty heated feud, as both parks sought to outdo each other during development. Universal knew that if they were going to compete with Disney, they would need some seriously advanced attractions. Eventually, Universal Studios Florida opened on June 7th, 1990. Among the park's opening day attractions were the insanely impressive Confrontation Dark Ride, as well as the bizarre E.T. Adventure Dark Ride, and of course, the Jaws ride. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know about the most famous version of the Jaws ride. The one with the big explosion, the high voltage wire, and the finely roasted
Oh,
shark. No
what the
plank.
fuck?
But that version of the
Oh my god.
voltage wire and the finely
Oh, what the fuck?
roasted shark. No plank. But that
Kids have to have fucking nightmares from that, dude.
version of the ride actually opened in 1993 when the
Imagine they even added the fucking smell of the king shark too.
park first opened in 1990. A very different version of the ride made
And just fucking splashes real shark blood on you during the ride. You just reek of that the entire day. And the fucking day is completely ruined. That means sad.
its debut. This version was made with the help of California-based company Ride and Show Engineering. This company had previously done work for both Universal's Tram Tour and Disney's theme parks. They not only installed the motion bridge on the King Kong experience, but they also refurbished the Disneyland monorail and installed the boat ride system on Maelstrom, now frozen ever after.
Oh, so they fucking sabotaged them. They like had a contract with Disney. Like, yeah, if you ever work with Universal or Warner Bros, sabotage their shit.
For this new Jaws ride,
Have your shit kill somebody.
no expense was spared, and the final budget for the first version ended up being over $72 million when adjusted for inflation. At the same time, this was a lot of money to put into a theme park ride for the time, and considering the
For the time, buddy. What? How much are they spending now?
challenges of building it and the sheer scale of it, there's no wonder why it cost so much. So what happened on the original version of the ride? Well, the start was pretty much exactly the same as the later version. Guests boarded a boat and were taken on a tour of Amity Island. Soon enough though, they came across a sinking tour boat that was just attacked by Jaws with no survivors. The implication being that in less than a minute, the shark gobbled everyone up like dots in Pac-Man. After the shark swims underneath the boat, the skipper decides
They definitely should have added like some blood, like splats of blood everywhere. I mean, I don't know how they do that because it's the, you know, it's like actual water. And if you keep doing that, the water is gonna eventually not be clear or blue anymore. But still.
to hide in the
You have fucking chunks of blood, or not blood, skin or whatever, clothing.
boathouse where the shark makes its first full appearance. This was easily the scariest part of the ride, as the darkness of the
Yeah.
boathouse and the animatronic shark both led
That actually made it like kind of real. Let's go back a little bit. Enhance, inspect.
house where the shark makes its first full appearance.
Oh yeah.
This was easily the scariest part of the ride, as the darkness of the boathouse and the animatronic shark both led to complete nightmare fuel. After the boathouse is where both versions diverge though. On the later version, the shark passes by on the port side and a controlled fiery explosion heats up the surrounding area. On the original version though, the animatronic shark appears to bite onto the front pontoon with a popping sound effect played. Through the use of an underwater turntable, the shark drags the boat backwards and shakes it. This is humorous considering sharks are incapable of swimming backwards. Then again, this is the same shark that can eat a boatload of people in less than a minute, so anything's possible in this story. That said, this moment was by far the biggest headache when it came to operating the attraction. You see, while the later version of the ride had boats that
What made them think of that? Yeah, let's make this fucking shark submerge. You have on the boat, have it pop. You know, have a rising platform that spins the boat around very slowly, might add, while doing absolutely nothing.
traveled on an underwater track, the
What?
original pontoon boats were freely floating in the lagoon. A concrete pit underneath did guide them on a certain path, but the boats weren't fully attached to the track like on the later version. This meant that skippers had full control over the boat's speed. During the scene, the skipper had to perfectly align the boat with where the shark would emerge from the lagoon. Too far away.
Oh, that's fucked, bro. What? That definitely would cause a lot of problems. You adjust the speed where the boat actually is. Nah.
And it looked like the shark was trying to inhale the boat like Kirby.
Like, yeah, it's gonna pretend to grab onto the boat and whatnot. But you can also fuck up the animatronic or the animatronic shark. Or it can like bite somebody.
too close and the boat would actually knock the shark's teeth out. You can actually see the shark's teeth missing in
Yeah,
this
like
clip.
that.
Somewhere along the line, the decision was made to glue real shark teeth into Jaws' jaws. And according to the Orlando
What?
Sentinel, occasionally the pontoons on the boats were ripped. So not only was the animatronic damaged, but the boat took damage as well. On top of
What?
these issues, the sharks would sometimes not emerge from the water at all during this scene. This led to what one skipper described as, quote, an
What the
awkward
fuck?
30-second dead space.
Yeah, you're just going out there and expecting a shark to come up, bite the boat, flip you around, turn you. You're just up. You're just there for like a fucking solid 30 seconds. Is insane. Like, hello, what are you doing?
Moving on from this scene, there was the grand finale of the ride. Once again, the shark appears to charge at the boat. Only this time, the skipper takes aim with a grenade launcher and launches a spicy one right into Jaws' mouth. The shark then appears to swim to the other side of the boat, where it suddenly explodes into a gory eruption of shark guts. Side note,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. What? That's what I want to see from a fucking boat ride in front. Explosion or not explosion, but just guts or whatever. There we go.
side of the boat, where it suddenly explodes into a gory eruption of shark guts. Side note, this moment actually involved an intensive compressed air mechanism that was patented by Universal.
Yeah.
Under the surface, the shark guts were collected in a giant funnel, which sorted them back into place for the next group of riders. Definitely
Oh my god. Don't tell me it did that. Kid filling. Then the mechanism grabbed him, pulled him in, and shoved him in a fucking box just for him to explode back out. Do not tell me that shit's gonna happen.
a creative achievement in engineering. Unfortunately, this part also failed to work properly every now and then. According to the Los Angeles Daily News, one skipper was quoted as saying, "There was supposed to be an explosion over there," reportedly on the ride's inaugural journey.
Huh.
All in all, the new ride, while met with praise from those who got to experience it, was an operational disaster. It faced a ton of downtime and was only set to operate periodically. As if Universal didn't have a big enough migraine on their hands, one major incident in July would make things even worse. On an unspecified date that month, bank officer Anthony Salamone of New Jersey had boarded the Jaws ride with his children. According to Salamone's
Oh,
lawyer
no.
Michael Diamond, a broken railing led to Salamone falling off the boat and into the water. Diamond added that after falling in, the shark started swimming right towards Salamone.
Oh my god, that's some fucking Final Destination shit. You go on the boat, some fucking pigeon flies into a railing, or you slip, your foot hits the railing a little bit, nudges out a boat, water starts to hit it, gets loose a little bit more. You get knocked in, same time shark comes. Fucked.
This caused Salamone's children to scream that, quote, "The shark's gonna eat daddy." Afterwards, Diamond said that Universal employees tried to fish him out of the water, only for him to slip and fall in again. By the time they were able to get him back on board, the other riders applauded, thinking it was part of the show. In the end, Salamone was left with a scraped leg, bruises, and a cold from being wet.
And a cold, buddy. Nobody gives a fuck about your cold. But yeah, little scrapes in here and there. Easy as what? Easy as 100 grand for like those scrapes and cuts maybe, and getting a fucking cold.
According to the Orlando Sentinel, Universal's in-house lawyer Ron Sykes disagreed with Diamond's account of the incident. He declined to comment any further and also declined to say if anyone else had fallen off the boat. Later
What?
that year, Salamone filed a lawsuit in New Jersey
How much,
federal
how much?
court seeking $1 million.
1
He
mil?
alleged that the company and its employees were careless and negligent in
You're fucking insane, buddy. Go a mil for a scraping cut and a cold.
maintaining the ride. However, the lawsuit was eventually moved to the U.S. District Court in Orlando in 1992 at the request of Universal. Unfortunately, not much was heard of this lawsuit since then, and most likely the parties ended up settling out of court decades ago. As for the
Yeah, it's a fucking mil, buddy. Like, there's no way you're gonna get a mil for that.
incident itself, what the hell happened? How did Salamone fall in? Where did he fall in? Was it the park's fault, or was he standing up? The lawsuit
It doesn't matter if you're standing up or not. The railing broke and you made him fall in.
only gave us his point of view, and Universal refused to comment. Luckily, the Tales from the Jaws ride book helps give us a better idea of what happened, and the details make the incident even more terrifying. In an interview with ride skipper Jeff Clay, he described the event as it happened that day. Though he wasn't driving the
Okay,
boat,
buddy.
he was still at the park as a lead. According to Clay, the incident happened on the part of the ride where the shark latches onto the boat. Apparently, the guests fell against the safety bar at this point. As you can see from this image of the boat, the safety bar is
The water boat only goes up to the knee. Yeah, what the fuck? Why? Why? Well, where's this camera coming from? That's what I wanted to comment on. The shark has a camera on him or something?
the only thing separating riders from the edge of the boat. Clay said that the bar either had a missing or broken pin, which caused it to come off altogether, sending Salamone into the lagoon. Clay said, quote, "That's where we had the biggest, deepest pit with the most machinery in the entire lagoon. It was the absolute last place you would want to fall overboard." Now here's where things get especially horrifying. Though most of the lagoon was said to be around 4 feet deep, the shark animatronics were kept in deeper pits to fit the necessary machinery. In order to make repairs outside of park hours, dive technicians would have to be sent down at
Wow.
night to make the necessary adjustments. In a separate interview with skipper John Bernard, he described how terrifying this process was, saying, quote, "I remember something one of the dive technicians told me. These guys were tough as nails mechanic types. They would be working on Jaws at night, making repairs where needed. If the repairs couldn't be done above water, then the techs would have to dive down into the lagoon. Again, this is at nighttime. Some of those pits were quite deep. The deepest was in scene 4 where the turntable from the original ride was. That pit was like 30 or 40 feet deep.
Wow.
They told me how incredibly scary it was diving down into the murky darkness at night and suddenly coming face to face with this huge frozen great white shark."
Yeah.
You heard that right. Salamone actually fell into a 30 to 40 foot deep pit of water with an
Wow.
animatronic shark on a complex turntable mechanism. You don't have to have SUBMECHANOPHOBIA to get
Holy
nightmares from that
fuck.
thought. According to Clay, the emergency stop was activated the moment that Salamone fell in. He added, quote, "I was so proud of the skipper for immediately hitting the E-stop, which shut down the entire ride literally 1 second after the guy fell over. They grabbed him and pulled him right back into the boat, so he was only in the water for a few seconds. The skipper then brought the boat to unload."
Guy was in the water for a few seconds. Maybe like a little scrape. Maybe a few seconds, buddy. And you're asking for a mil? I mean, I understand it's Disney, but a mil for falling into the water for a couple seconds, getting a code.
And the guy was totally fine. That was the biggest emergency I can remember. The account is interesting as it somewhat conflicts with the version Salamone's lawyer presented. Clay suggests that Salamone was pulled out almost immediately, whereas his lawyer claimed he was in the water long enough for his children to panic and for him to fall back in a second time. Another thing worth noting was the lawyer's account that the shark
All right. Oh my god. Yeah. So I don't understand why they didn't have any camera footage. Like, buddy, there's fucking cameras everywhere. Security cameras everywhere. You can easily get a camera pulled that I was watching there of him falling in and bring it to court. Like, are you gonna tell me there's not a single camera that can see him over there? And there's definitely a lot of people on that boat that's videoing it too. So like, what? It just doesn't make any sense.
was swimming towards Salamone. If he had fallen off during this point of the ride, the shark would be moving away from Salamone and not towards him. It's still understandable that his children would think that the shark was going to eat him as he was still in the water, but the idea that the shark was swimming towards him is questionable. Regardless of the exact details, there's no doubt that this was a serious and terrifying incident. The thought of falling into an industrial pit with a massive moving
You gotta love this guy's editing and everything though. He always puts like an asterisk star and it talks about what the image is. He even has a source at the top. Fucking amazing. Amazing video, man.
Animatronic shark, surrounded by unseen mechanical components, is the stuff of nightmares. Even if the shark was only moving for a split second, that must have been enormously unsettling to be in the water.
Yeah.
When all was said and done, this incident only added to the long list of problems Universal was facing with the original Jaws ride. Between the mechanical failures, the operational headaches, and now a lawsuit, it became frustratingly clear that the ride was simply unsustainable in its current form. Universal was furious at Ride and Show Engineering and would end up filing a lawsuit of their own against them for the entire cost of the ride.
Why though? Like, the only thing that should be blamed is the people. Is people should double check the ride before going into there. Like, it was the railing's fault. It wasn't the shark mechanics, whatever. Like, it was doing its job. It even stopped when it needed to stop, right? It's just the railing broke. That was literally the only faulty thing there. It wasn't a faulty ride. It's just the railing came undone. You know, like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Universal cited poor design, missed deadlines, and claimed that non-waterproof parts were used for the attraction, leading to even more issues.
Yeah.
They also reportedly claimed that the motion bases for the animatronics were so powerful that they were tearing up the concrete floor of the lagoon.
Oh my god.
But was this lawsuit fair? According to Ride and Show Engineering Director of Marketing Mark Messersmith, the company was working on a strict deadline from Universal, and they weren't given enough time to test and adjust the ride before opening. Even before the ride's debut, Messersmith said, quote,
"They opened it without testing it? Why?"
Universal had begun taking control from us little by little in the months before it opened. They were hiring their own people to oversee engineering and design modifications. We were slowly losing control of our own project. It was tragic what ultimately happened on Jaws. It was never given the proper time to test and adjust. Eventually, the lawsuit was settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. Universal originally planned on bringing in a new team of engineers to refurbish the original ride, but an assessment from an outside party said it was not economically feasible. Essentially, the ride was in such disrepair that Universal basically had to start from scratch. Though the basic framework and theming were kept, the animatronics, mechanisms, boats, and other equipment were gutted and replaced. The Totally Fun company was brought on for the new version. Meanwhile, Oceaneering International was brought in to design the new sharks, and Swiss manufacturer Intamin was brought in to build an underwater track for the boats. This new version of the ride would operate until 2012, when it was completely flattened and replaced with the new Diagon Alley themed area.
What the fuck? It used to be that? No, it's that. That to that. That's crazy. Diagon Alley, that's the Harry Potter one, yeah. Oh yeah, Harry Potter, Diagon Alley. Diagonal D.
That said, a clone of the ride continues to operate at Universal Studios Japan, with the lagoon sitting right next to the new Super Nintendo World. Looking back, though the 1990 incident wasn't the final nail in the original's coffin, it did still somewhat contribute to its closing. The whole thing was just a complete mess. Still, you have to give the engineers credit for making the best of a bad situation. When the ride did work as intended, it was amazing, and you can argue that its ambition was even more impressive than the final version. All that said, its short lifespan, malfunctions, errors, and lawsuits make it one of the biggest failures in theme park history. Now, to be clear, this video only scratches the surface of this ride's history, and there are a ton of more details in Tales from the Jaws ride. So once again, you can get the Kindle version or a physical copy at the link in the description. Now it's time for the comment shoutout program. This is where I take 5 random
He does a whole shout out thing for the last 5 minutes. Wow. Amazing video though. That's crazy. Like, nothing really crazy happened, but it's crazy how it got shut down for not really any reason, to be honest. But it's crazy. I turned into the Diagon Alley. Where is it?
Universal Studios Japan, with the lagoons flattened and
That's
replaced
from
with the
that to
new
that. So yeah, amazing video though. Theme park crazy. The terrifying 1990 Jaws ride. Incident. Some mechanophobia. Amazing video.